Hi, Donald here with Floating Feathers Kayak Fly Fishing School with another tips and tricks. And today's tips and tricks, I'm going to show you how to properly sit on a sit-on-top kayak. So I'm sitting here in the Crescent Kayaks CK1 Venture right now, and I'm going to show you, if you guys want to come in just a little bit closer. One of the biggest things we see is people not sitting up with the proper posture or the proper back, right? So they want to take their seat and they're lean back. Now, most modern fishing kayaks will allow you to lean back just like this. Now I will give it to you, this is extremely comfortable. And if I'm out there on the water just relaxing and having a good time, there's nothing more than a lazy boy, right? It's a very, very comfortable position. However, this is not the position you want to be in for paddling, okay? And the other reverse area of that spectrum is if you're kind of bent forward like this. First, it's not very comfortable, okay? Second, you can't get the proper paddling form if you are trying to paddle in this posture position. So you want this back, the back of the seat, as straight up and down as possible. At least you want your back as straight up and down as possible. Now you can have a slight bend in your back so your lumbar is supported and your shoulders are rolling off the back of the chair just a little bit. So, you know, as you want to stretch your shoulders, you can just do this and stretch your shoulders. But you want it up, okay? So that is your proper seat position. You want your seat back as almost at a 90 degree. You can have it just slightly tilted backwards, but again, we don't want it all the way back here, right? Or even just back like this. This is too much of a bend in your back, and you're gonna work your upper body way too much, and you get extremely tired. You're not gonna paddle efficiently, and you're gonna wonder why it's taking so long to get where you're going. Well, this is one reason, because you're not sitting correctly. So again, sit up, okay? Almost a 90 degree, nice and comfortable, just like you're sitting in a chair at your house, all right? The next thing we see a lot is their proper leg positioning, okay? So a lot of people will paddle with their legs straight out like this, or the legs trying to paddle like this at almost 90 degrees or something like this, or their feet in the middle of the kayak. There's a lot of different ways you can do this, okay? All of these are wrong, by the way, okay? Everything I just did was not the proper place to have your feet, not the proper leg bend that you need, all right? If you know how to paddle, if you've been to a paddling class, then you know that the proper paddling technique requires you to use your feet to push the pegs or to push the kayak as you stroke with the blade of the paddle. If you haven't taken a paddle class, there's a lot of videos out there. I'll make one in the future. Anyway, in order to achieve proper positioning for paddling, so you're not wearing yourself out, so you can actually use your hips and your torso and your torque and your feet and your arms and your legs and everything, your core, everything that goes into actual paddling. Paddling is a full body workout. In order to do that, okay, your legs need to be with a slight bend, okay? They're not here, all right? That's too much of a bend, all right? That puts too much stress on your hips, too much stress on your lower back, and you're gonna wear yourself out, and you're going to use your upper body too much, and it's just gonna fatigue you more, all right? If you have your legs straight out, and even if they're against something, against the sides of the pegs, you're going to use your upper body and your core too much, and it's going to put stress on your lower back. So that slight bend, and if you can see my knees, just a very, very slight bend in my knees. All right, this is straight, this is a slight bend, and it's just a very comfortable slight bend. Now, the other part is people put their feet straight up and down like this, okay? That's not what you want either. You want your feet slightly tilted so your toes are pointed to the outside of the kayak. All right, they're not 45, you're not walking like a duck, okay? You're not sitting like a duck. You just want a slight tilt so your toes are pointed to the outsides of the kayak, all right? So that is how you sit properly in a kayak. Your back is straight, almost at a 90 degree, or as comfortable as 90 degrees you can get. Your legs are slightly bent. Your feet are against the pegs, or against, if you have a kayak like the Splashback over here, where it doesn't have pegs, but it has footrest. You want your footrest at a 45, or your toes pointed towards the outside of the footrest. And I'm gonna go over there and show you that real quick, all right? So if you come over here and let me sit in this kayak that doesn't have foot pegs, where it just have footrest. If you notice footrest, they are made so your toes will automatically point towards the outside of the kayak. So you can't put your foot straight and get any type of push, right? So you want your toes pointed just to the outsides of the kayak. So a kayak like this that has foot braces or foot slots in it rather than foot braces or foot pegs like modern fishing kayaks will make you point your toes out to the side. And there's a reason for that, and that is when you start to paddle, right? You start to paddle, you want the proper torque, and when you get torque, you can push, and you can push. If your feet are straight up and down, you're gonna wear your heels out, and if you try to push with your foot, you're gonna rotate your feet in. That puts stress on your ankles, stress on your knees, and stress on your hips. So toes slightly pointed out. All right, I'm gonna come back over to the CK1 Venture and show you on that. So again, if you haven't watched the videos on how to get in and out of a kayak, please watch that. I show you the proper technique. So now I'm going to show you how to sit in it, right? Get my seat cushions straightened up here, sorry. All right, so toes at it pointed just slightly outside, knees slightly bent, back straight up and down. That is how you sit in a kayak. So you can grab your paddle and you can begin to go have some fun. So this is Donald with Floating Feathers Kayak Fly Fishing School. I appreciate you watching. If you haven't subscribed, please click wherever it is. It might still be below. I'm not real sure right now. Anyway, find that subscribe button, click it. I would very much appreciate it. Until next time. Oh, and you know what? Tips and tricks every Tuesday at 2 o'clock Central right here on the Floating Feathers YouTube channel. Appreciate everybody watching. Until next time, safe paddles and tight lines.